Achyutamayananda to go and share his thoughts. You can go ahead now, yeah.
Yes, Nithyanandam, thank you very much. Yeah, so a powerful cognition that actually came mainly from today's satsang, where Swamiji shared how we should, we need to realize ourselves as super consciousness and identify ourselves as, our first principle from where we operate from should be that super consciousness. And this super consciousness, it gives us a real confidence to manifest just anything, and anything that our objective reality, like our present circumstance is telling us. If we just realize that we are far beyond anything that is happening in the present moment in actuality, but in reality we are this super consciousness. So whatever we manifest in our inner space will be manifested in the outer space. When we carry this principle of super consciousness, when we carry this principle as our first principle. And so, yes, relating with Swamiji through this realization of super consciousness allows us to identify ourselves with this super consciousness, because we go beyond ourselves, we go beyond our addictions or fears, powerlessness. If ever food or sleep is getting the best of you, if we just come back to our super consciousness, we could say, what do I really want to experience now? Or what would Paramashiva experience now if I could go beyond this food and this sleep and just about all my powerlessness? What is it truly inside that wants to be manifested? And when we use that super consciousness to manifest it, we can truly manifest just about anything, and anything we choose to be integrated to, we can manifest that. So yes, just wanted to bring back to that realization of ourselves as super consciousness.
Thank you so much, Nithyanandam. Thank you so much for sharing your powerful cognitions and your thought currents. So now you'd like to hear from Ranoshan, like to hear his powerful cognitions and thought currents. You can go ahead, Ranoshan.
Nithyanandam. Yeah, so actually one really strong click that's happening is actually this space of laziness, tiredness, and boredom. And I'm really seeing that a lot of the time, especially when the relationship with Swamiji, these three if there's any gap, these three are basically the root cause of the gap. Whether it's doing basically, whether it's contributing to Kailasa, or basically remembering the powerful cognitions, practicing the powerful cognitions, doing the daily routines, all these things, the only real obstacle is the laziness, tiredness, and boredom. Entertaining the laziness, tiredness, and boredom. Like even things like practicing cognition, knowing Swamiji sharing this powerful cognition, either on live satsang or a live satsang, or even just casually watching a satsang and really having a strong click saying, okay, no, this is a really strong click. I should practice this and have the experience. And then sometime through the day, having some sort of laziness and saying, oh no, it's okay. Just this thing of, it's okay. This thing of invoking the laziness and saying, it's okay to the laziness. Cherishing this laziness. Cherishing this tiredness and boredom and this kind of thing. Really, I'm seeing, especially after the whole Pralaya, is this thing is actually bigger than it looks. It's a lot bigger than it looks. See, even on the level of super consciousness, as Achyutamaya was sharing, the experience of super consciousness is always being excited about life. being bored about life, being lazy with life, being tired with life is not superconsciousness. It's compromising on the experience of superconsciousness, actually. And really, Renoshan's cognizing now, it's maybe a little bit of a strong word to say, but actually experiencing the laziness, tiredness, boredom, Renoshan feels is actually compromising on Satya. Swamiji sharing the Satya is you are superconsciousness, and then cognizing the Satya because it is Satya for the sake of Satya. Satya is the only thing that's actually true. And really, Renoshan seeing, it's like, especially now as Renoshan is sharing too, it's actually such a strong thing, is whenever we experience any of these three, this tiredness, laziness, boredom, it is really a compromise on Satya, because Satya is the experience of superconsciousness. It's not just personal experience, but it's the experience. As in the experience of superconsciousness is the experience of personal experience and the experience of life itself. And so this is not, I feel, Renoshan saying like, this is the biggest gap that Renoshan is having, especially in the day-to-day things, this thing of entertaining the laziness, tiredness, boredom, even manifesting powers. Sometimes after a certain point, this thing of boredom may happen. And especially this blessed space of being with Swamiji. Swamiji makes sure you don't give up. Swamiji makes sure you manifest the power. This is different. But if Renoshan is practicing by himself somewhere, after a certain amount of time, maybe 20, 30 minutes, maybe 1-2 hours, then Renoshan will feel bored with the power and then move on to something else. At least in Swamiji's space, Swamiji makes sure that this doesn't happen. Swamiji makes sure you manifest the power, even if it takes a number of hours, but you make sure you manifest. But Renoshan feels that entertaining this boredom is actually such a gap. And especially during this Pralaya, it's really being put in front of you, seeing how big the gap is and how much it's actually we have to rejuvenate. Really, this rejuvenation has to happen. The refreshing the space has to happen. Refreshing the space in the space where actually, as Renoshan is sharing, this one clip is happening where Swamiji in one satsang is sharing, don't plan on conquering laziness for your whole life. Start with today. Just for today, for this day, conquer your laziness. Do the micromanagement. Live in an organized way. Become active in life. Really micromanage your inner space and outer space. Micromanage the whole thing. Really live in an organized way. Because when you're living in this organized way, there's no room for laziness, there's no room for tiredness, there's no room for boredom. Always you're engaging, always you're active, always there's some sort of excitement in life. There's no thing of taking a break. Taking a break itself is just shifting activities. As was being shared in an earlier Vakyartha Sadhas, taking a break is shifting activities. It's shifting activism. It's shifting the flavor of excitedness. So this is the main clip that Renoshan wanted to share. Nithyanandam.
Thank you, Renoshan. Yes, actually, you're right about the truth. Then the truth that Swamiji is telling, the Satya that Swamiji is saying, that you are super consciousness. And one thing when we realize that the boredness, tiredom, and laziness are so influential. I'm not going to even call them powerful. I'm going to call them influential. So they're so influential that they become your truth. They become the truth that you live by. The delusion will be such that it's not you. You will think it is very logical, but it is on the outside. Other people will be pointing out to you and saying that is laziness. But you'll think you're being practical and logical, thinking that way. If I don't get sleep now, if I don't sleep like this now, then I'll miss sleep later. Then I'll be tired later. Then I'll be irritated later. Then I'll get angry later. So you're thinking very practically, but other people are pointing at you and saying, no, that is laziness. And then you are having to look at them, and then you need to think of the higher truth. The higher truth that yes, I am super consciousness. So for you, the examples that I had in Pralaya, where I had to literally drag myself out of laziness and make something happen. A few times for some of the rituals in especially during the Navaratri and little bit before the Navaratri when we were doing the Pandakal festival, it was such that nothing was ready for the next day morning. We had to finish one ritual in the night, and the next day morning at 4 o'clock, Pandakal has to be ready. Pandakal is a ritual where we install a bamboo stem in the ground, bamboo stick in the ground, declaring the inauguration of the festivities. So it is made for the Nithyanandeshwar Brahmotsavam, and Pandakal is done in late September, where the stick is installed and we do the ritual in the morning. So it was about in the night, late the previous night, some other ritual was happening, and that ended very late, and I got to know, and other people fortunately around that time the ecosystem around had told me, look, there's nobody else there. There are people who are telling, look, there's nobody else there. It is, if we have to burn the midnight oil, it is worth burning it now, so that we're not late and the things are not delayed in the morning. So this message came to me, and this support was given, and I took that as a message as a waking up. Like, yeah, if I don't move, if I don't burn out the midnight oil now, tomorrow morning, we will not be able to hit the correct time and do the ritual at the correct muhurtam. So the night I had to say, okay, we are doing this for Swamiji. We need to do it for Swamiji. Can we do a little bit of sacrifice for Swamiji? Can we do not even little bit of sacrifice? It's just saying, why are we here? Why am I even here? What is the point of running this? Am I here to continuously fight against the whole thing and say, no, I am only here to protect so that I have a correct sleep in the night? No, I am here to know that these sacrifices and these particular things are worth it. Because at the end of it, you will have a correct result. And in that way also you learn that there is more capability and more energy. And in that way I was able to actually be awake and energetic the whole night. It was not a suffering at all. It was, I was able to make the whole, whatever needs to happen. And I don't know, that whole thing resulted in me moving. When I moved and did the necessary, or even what I felt was hard, even I felt as a big sacrifice, maybe looks like a small sacrifice of sleep. But when I decided to move out of my way to make something happen, move out of my logic and my own practicality, I realized many other people noticed that and also fell in and decided that, okay, this also we can do, this also we can step up. So the alignment back into Swamiji, actually the actual thought that helped me continue that night, what I had to do was it was a physical task. You had to go literally dig the hole 3 feet into the ground and pull it out, and then clear the entire area of all the shrubbery, and then clean up, and then get the pandakal ready and get the ritual items, everything, and then only took a bath, came back, and then by the time I came back, we had to do Uttama Seva, finish Uttama Seva. In the middle of Uttama Seva, I had to go and do Pandakal. Everything was arranged, and people supported and got things ready. But I remember having this one thought in my mind that it was out of my normal logic. Out of the normal logic, that thinks that at night, at least an hour I need, at least 10 minutes I need, at least 5 minutes I need of sleep. Those thoughts were continuously coming up, but I just felt, no, that has to be done, or that has to be done, that has to be done. Rather than thinking that has to be done, only I am there, I have to do, and this is overwhelming. I had thought, the only thought that was repeating inside me was, Swamiji is there. Swamiji's done so much of these kind of tyagas. Swamiji has done tremendous amount of tyaga to build this whole sangha. Can't I just sacrifice this little sleep? So for me, that was the thing that pulled me back and said, yeah, I can do. There's more I can stretch. There's more I can stretch. Right? Because as far as me being we being Adinavasis, our life is to be with him and like him. Exactly like him. And that is why I decided to come here, and that's why I decided to be here. So remembering that and coming back to that, so much opportunity and tremendous opportunity is given. So yeah, thanks everyone for listening for that, and just wanted to share that example.
Thank you so much, Raja Maharaj. So we'll go ahead and Murli to share his thoughts about this. What is his powerful cognitions and thought currents? You can go ahead, Aya.
Thank you, Maharaj. In a way, I should say that whatever I wanted to share was actually shared by already all the people here. And to start off with Ashutosh Nanda, I actually resonated with a lot of things that he had said. The practicing his way of thinking through things, re-looking at things, where I'm missing, and going back to Swamiji and asking him for guidance. That's what clicked with him, and that's what I think I should also do. How the Pralaya had affected us. See, till this moment when all this Vakyartha happened, I was thinking that I had never missed a day of puja, so still what is wrong? But now I understand that I was doing it out of boredom and out of tiredness, and I should not have done. I should have actually completed the boredom before I went the puja. Now, initially during the introduction, I used to say that I will share all the miracles that happened to me. That I think there is a forum for that now. Now, even before Swamiji talked about any materialization, Vibhuti materialization, even before they talked about, even before he introduced this term called practicing the presence of God, I understood that. And I know when I come to think back what I've had at the time, it is actually my practicing the presence of God that even helped in materializing Vibhuti. See, when the Guru Puja started at the advent of the time, in the Adi Kailash, there was the practice was that the mantra meaning was given so that the listeners can internalize and understand the meaning of the ritual they are doing. So this practice was really helpful for me, because when I did the mantras with the understanding of the meaning, and I cognized myself offering the bouquet, offering the food. I cognized that Swamiji was eating in front of me, taking the water and washing his hands, mouth in front of me. I cognized that, and that is what actually helped me in miracles. And the puja moment was really, really clicked with the oneness, helped me establish the oneness, and that is why even I think these Vibhuti materializations are happening. And today, when I see that I thought I was doing only the physical action, and that space was missing. As a kid, I knew that only chanting the mantras was not going to help me. As I said today, at the beginning of the Vakyartha Sadhas today, I said I learned the hard way about what was missing in my life, and that was spiritual strength. I think I had gone back to the space where I am lacking the spiritual strength. I think I should complete with that. I should complete with my boredom, my laziness and tiredness and all that. And I should realign myself with practicing the presence of God in terms of how Swamiji puts it. And talk to him, and as Maharaj was saying, I think I am being very genuine. I think I am being very logical, and it is the other person who is at fault. Now I think I should take out time, more time to sit with Swamiji and internalize whatever he had taught, more think through the problem, and remember him, and prioritize this puja time. And from that intensity, I think I should look at whatever I'm going through, so that some solution will manifest. So I should thank Swamiji for this Vakyartha's opportunity. And if Maharaj and other viewers would have noticed, I think because of this click that had happened today, I had started levitating. So I think something had really clicked inside me, even without my own logic realizing it. So thank you, Swamiji, for giving me this opportunity and making me get this click. So I'll surely spend more time with you. I'll surely meditate on you more, spend time with you more, and prioritize this time with you more. And from that instantly, let me go through my life situation, so that some situation does click with me. So prioritizing Swamiji time is something that should happen from me, is what the click I get from the sadhas that had happened today. I'll surely do it. Thank you so much. Thank you, Maharaj.
Thank you so much, Ayya. So we also have Sanjay ji. You can go ahead, Ayya.
Nithyanandam. So yeah, reading that statement first. In fact, the experience here has been slightly different. So during this Pralaya, I've actually felt a deeper connection, and I've been able to connect in a way that I wasn't previously. And as I'm thinking about that, it feels like it's because I feel like I have more time. There were fewer distractions. So the feeling here is actually quite different, and it's now more of a concern and a thinking rather of what happens when things go back to the old way or the new way. So when things open up and those potential distractions are back, what happens then? And I think this is where, again, today's satsang has felt really powerful, because it feels that Swamiji is taking us, reminding me of some of the fundamentals. That remember first, your first principle is superconsciousness. Come from that space first. And it's a very useful thing to re-hear, to re-internalize, especially coming from this space where there's been this really deep emotional reconnection. And then this almost concern of, okay, but what when all the other external factors come in? So it's a very pertinent reminder actually to say, hold on, those external things are just that. They are external. Cement that inner space. You are super consciousness, and kind of live life from that space first. So that's been the cognition here. I've experienced it in that way. So just to expand that in a small way. So previous, because of due to what I consider to be time restrictions or feeling tiredness, there were certain things I wouldn't do, or I'd miss, or I'll do more weakly, even in terms of following the right foods. And then suddenly during Pralaya, there is an availability of time. There is availability of just being in my own space and doing things like that. So, yeah, I suppose it's been a slightly different experience.
Yes, yeah. Actually, what you're feeling also, we also had the same thing. We also felt when Swamiji said first that the delay, the Pralaya was a time where you could have looked in when we had a. What all are the things that Pralaya had given us, and we had all shared in that Vakyartha Sadhas that day that, yeah, actually Pralaya had given us a lot of space to open up, and the time was there to also look in, and also that. But yes, then Swamiji, I would say, shocked us with the next statement saying, look, there are things that are there maybe settled inside you, that the decisions you made inside Pralaya, that is still Pralaya that exists inside you, that you need to correct. Unless you correct those, Pralaya is still existing, so take your time to look into that. So we've come to this, even into this contemplation, and in doing so we have looked in and saw more about where it is that we can really correct. And I'm also seeing that if I was given tremendous amount of time in Pralaya and given a tremendous amount of time to look in, why would I sit and just look in and work only on emoting and feeling connection with Swamiji as far as just from an emotional level? These powerful cognitions that Swamiji is giving now about your super consciousness and all that, how come I didn't cherish this back then? If I had cherished this back then I don't know what if I had the time to cherish this back then. So we get really deluded when we think there's a lot of time in front of us, and then what we choose to do when we have time, what we choose to do when all this time is given to us, those are the things that Swamiji is trying to bring awareness to us and make us look in. So yeah, thank you for your sharing. And
yes, so just like to thank all the panelists once for joining us here today. Thank you so much for coming today for today's Vakyartha Sadhas. all the viewers, those of you who are watching us here, and in all the panelists as well, for all of us actually, whatever we have spoken about the Guru, about how we can rekindle our feeling connection with him, bring us more and more closer to oneness with him, to integrity with him, the best way for all of us to do this is to let him itself give a solution for this as well, by coming and attending the Paramashivoham program from January 7th onwards. Swamiji is giving a breakthrough to the Paramashivoham program, which he had introduced back in 2018, and since then the Paramashivoham program has been conducted. So for the program itself, Swamiji is going to give an entirely different breakthrough, a super conscious breakthrough for the whole program. Those who, if you're interested, if something which we have said clicked with you and you have the urge to attend the program, you can go to the link being projected below, www.paramashivoham.org, and register yourself for the Paramashivoham program. With this, it's time to enter into the Nitya Satsang. Please sit with your head, neck and spine in a straight line. Bring your awareness into your Ananda Gandha. Visualize Swamiji sitting there in your Ananda Gandha as Paramashiva, with the 25 heads and 50 hands. Now, allowing the mantra to vibrate throughout your entire body, start chanting the Mahavakya. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham.
Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham.